everybody, I'm Kimberly Turner from cookingwithkimberly.com, and tonight, oh, my mom's on the show, Ingrid.
Hi.
Tonight we're baking some beautiful cookies. These are Napa Valley Vanilla Fig Balsamic Cookies. They're going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So I have everything already measured out here and ready to go, and I'm just going to show you how we're going to put this together. So I'm using a standing mixer. You can use a hand mixer if you like, or you can do them by hand if you really, really feel like it. But I'm going to start off with the paddle attachment, not the whisk. And I'm going to start creaming the butter with the sugar, but I'm going to just lighten up the butter first by itself and cream it. You want to make sure that your butter is room temperature, and this is 1 cup of butter, unsalted if you can. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cream this butter till it's light and smooth and a little bit fluffy. Okay, that's nice and light and fluffy. I'm going to add 1 cup of sugar. Now you can use a combination of brown sugar and white sugar, or either one entirely. But I have just white sugar today, and that's what I'm using. And we're gonna cream that up till it's nice and smooth. While you're doing this, you wanna make sure you scrape down the bowl so that everything is evenly combined. And let it just go a couple more minutes like this. I love the smell of sugar and butter.
Me too.
Creaming. Nice. Reminds me of my mom's kitchen.
It's true. I used to bake almost every day.
Baked all the time. We always had something cool for us when we got home from school or whatever we were doing.
For Dad, because Dad was a real snacker.
Boy, was
He used to love his snacks, his cookies, and any little tiny hors d'oeuvres. He loved them.
Yep. You know that's right. So let's talk about the balsamic part before I turn this back on again. We're using a really fantastic balsamic vinegar from Wine Country Kitchens. This is Napa Valley Vanilla Fig Balsamic Vinegar. Make sure you check out my review on this. What an awesome, delicious vinegar. And it's so sweet, and it's nice and thick like a syrup. It comes out in a beautiful consistency. It's high quality balsamic vinegar from Modena, Italy, and it's mixed with fig puree and with lovely real vanilla. And
You just won't believe it.
You really won't.
It's so good.
And not only is it good for you know, savory things that you would usually use it for on salads or things of that nature. Did a beautiful appetizer with baked figs, right? So fig is fantastic, but it's great with baking, baked goods. We've been doing a ton of baking with these things, and they're fantastic. So make sure you check them out. The top is mine, it's not theirs. I put that on myself. So that doesn't come like that. But the bottle is fantastic, and it's, you know, it lasts a long time too. All right, so let's finish creaming this butter and sugar together. Okay, next I'm going to put in my eggs. I have 2 eggs, and I'm just going to crack them into a separate container before I add them to make sure that no shells go in. It's easier to get them out of this little bowl than to get them out of the mixing bowl. So, I'm going to just quickly whisk them. You don't have to. You could add them just like this, but I'm going to help it along a bit. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract, real vanilla extract. You can add it to the eggs, or you can add it to the bowl, either one.
This is a really great vanilla. It comes with its own vanilla beans in
It
it.
sure does. You can check out my review on this. This is Epicurial pure bourbon vanilla extract. Really tasty stuff. And it's actually lasted us quite a long time too.
Yes.
Beautiful. I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of molasses, and I've let this molasses loosen up a bit. I took it out of the refrigerator quite some time ago, so I'm just going to eyeball it. I don't need to actually dirty up a spoon. This is going to give it a nice dark color and a nice rich flavor. Okay, I'm just going to stir that up a little bit, and I'm also going to add my balsamic vinegar to this mixture before I add it too. So I'm going to add probably 1.5 tablespoons. That's going to give me some really nice flavor, nice color. Oh,
Heavenly.
And
Heavenly.
it's going to kick up these cookies. Something else, I'm telling you. Eyeball this. Yep. If you count to 4 as it's pouring pretty normally, that's about 1 tablespoon. Okay. So mix that through a little bit. And I'm going to pour that in entirely. Make sure you get it all. That's flavor in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now these will be somewhat of a moist cookie because we're using the molasses and we're using, more moisture in here, and 2 eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll mix that thoroughly. So make sure you scrape down the sides and everything gets nice and evenly combined. Okay, that looks good. So I'm gonna get my dry ingredients mixed together first. I have in total 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Now Mom used half of a cup to coat my figs.
Mm-hmm. Just dredge them in it so they won't stick together.
So we have 3/4 of a cup of dried figs, finely diced, okay? To the size of, say, a chocolate chip or a raisin.
Mm-hmm.
So she just dredged it so they don't stick together. So that's over there, but all together it's gonna be 3 cups of flour. So into a mixing bowl, just so we can get things combined before we add it into the large bowl. Okay, so I'm going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. We're going to use 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We cut down on our salt intake, so if you want to use 1/2 teaspoon, feel free, but we're only using 1/4 today. I'm using a heaping tablespoon of flax seeds. Now that's an optional ingredient. That's just to add a little bit of extra something and a little bit of nutrition as well.
Flax seeds are good for you.
Beautiful.
You can incorporate them in a lot of things and you don't even know you're getting something.
That's right. But I think it'll be nice to have those little flecks. Also, I'm going to add the figs with the flour. And we're going to stir these ingredients just to combine. Now I'm going to add this mixture 1/3 at a time to my cookie batter here. In it goes. And we're going to stir it first so it doesn't go in your kitchen. Do it on a nice low speed first and stir it together, and then just barely mix it through before you add some more. Okay, so in goes a little bit more. It looks beautiful, nice and smooth and creamy. And in goes the rest until just beautifully combined. All right, our dough looks fantastic. And it sure is tasty. I've been sneaking a little bit of it. It's so good. I love raw cookie dough anyway. It's one of my very favorite things. So I'm going to show you the consistency here in a second. It pulled together perfectly, and just mix it just enough so that it's just combined.
Yes, not beyond. Because if you do it beyond that, then when you put the dough on the cookie sheet, it spreads out way too far.
That's right. Okay, so here's the consistency of it. If you can see it, it squishes together. They are quite soft and they are quite buttery. If you wanted to put these in the refrigerator, you may do so and use them at your leisure. But I'm going to prepare some baking sheets with some silicone mats, and you'll see us rolling these out in a minute. Okay, so I've got my silicone mat lined baking sheets, and I'm just going to measure out maybe teaspoon-sized balls, maybe a little bit bigger than that. In between, like just slightly smaller than a golf ball, okay? There you go. And I'm going to do 12 per tray. So I'm just rolling them as uniformly as possible so that they're about the same size. And we're gonna do 12 per tray. Now these produce a nice tender cookie. It's a little bit chewy and soft. Lovely. Buttery. What a flavor. You're definitely going to want to bake these again. So preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm going to use a convection setting for them. If you don't have convection in your oven, that's fine. It'll be just fine.
The flax seeds give a nice texture.
Yes, Mom likes the flax seeds in there. So you'll see how lovely they are once they are all baked up. They're a nice light, kind of fluffy cookie. This will be perfect with your tea and coffee or for a snack for tomorrow's lunch.
For our midnight snack. Yep.
Midnight snack, yep. Okay, now I'm going to slightly squish them down, not as much as, say, a peanut butter cookie, but I'm just going to push it down halfway maybe. That's just going to help them out a little bit. And I'm just going one direction. If you wanted to do a double hash mark, go ahead. So there we have it, into the oven. This first tray goes for, they're probably gonna take about 10 minutes. I'm going to check them around 8 to make sure all is copacetic. And get the rest of your trays ready. Mom, these cookies look awesome.
Oh, don't they look beautiful?
So I went 8 minutes and checked them, and I decided to go another 2 minutes and check them, and then wanted 1 more minute. So it took altogether today 11 minutes. Every day is different when you're baking. So today it's 11 minutes on these.
They're nice and golden brown, and the edges are just tinted a little darker brown.
That's right.
Just perfect.
So I'm going to transfer them because I'm using a silicone sheet. It's easy for me. If you want to wait just a couple minutes before you transfer yours, if you're using just your baking sheet, just wait a couple minutes so they kind of unstick and cool.
Yeah, they set up.
Oh,
and if you've never used one of those silk hat liners, oh my goodness.
They're a dream.
Amazing.
These smell fantastic. And they're just nice, proper size for just a little snack.
Yeah.
Instead of a great big giant cookie, it's kind of more delicate and
you feel like you're not eating as much.
The whole trick is not to eat 8 of them at one time like I like to do. And I have been tearing up this raw dough. It is so good.
Oh.
It looks to me like we're going to get 4 dozen, despite the fact that we've been eating the dough. So you might get 4 or 5 dozen out of this recipe.
They're irresistible.
Oh, it's so good.
So good.
So good. So into the oven with my other pan, and I'll get prepared the rest of them, and you'll see us at the end. All right, that's our last batch, and we have 4 dozen here, and we ate at least a dozen worth in raw cookie dough.
It's a secret, Kim.
Not really. So this will actually make you 5 dozen cookies-ish, depending on how big you make them. Right?
Yeah.
I like the cookie dough. It's my favorite
too.
part.
I love it.
It's my favorite.
I mean, we're not little kids. We're adults.
Right. I
Are
can
we
do what I
supposed
want.
to be doing that?
I can do what I want now because I'm an adult. But if I was a kid, I'd be in trouble for eating the
But
dough.
it's awesome cookie dough. You just couldn't resist it.
Man. So we've got a whole beautiful tray's worth of these gorgeous Napa Valley Vanilla Fig Balsamic cookies. Who knew you could use balsamic vinegar to make a delicious cookie?
They're outstanding.
Ridiculously delicious. So I'm going to show you what these guys look like inside. So these cookies are nice and crunchy on the outside, beautifully browned. That's what you're looking for, a little bit of brownness. And when you break into them, the inside is so beautifully moist and like chewy and perfect and light and fluffy too. Come on. There's a good crunch on the outside. And the figs are so nice in there.
Really delicious.
The flax seeds give a beautiful texture.
Those figs are so delicious in there. And the flavor. Oh my goodness. And I love the flax seeds.
Me too. And I love the seeds from the figs.
This vanilla fig balsamic just makes all the difference in the quality of the cookie, in the texture, and the flavor.
Very vanilla. And I
Mhm.
only used a half a teaspoon of the vanilla extract. The rest of the vanilla flavor came from that. And a beautiful fig flavor. They're nice and rich, almost complex tasting. They're beautiful with coffee or espresso.
And the very middle just melts in your mouth.
Oh, and they just break apart. They're just so nice. Awesome cookie. You're gonna love these. And I like that they're a little bit smaller because they are quite rich to me. What a nice cookie. I love them.
Great recipe, Kim.
There you go. You're gonna want to make these for sure. They are so tasty. Great for the kids. You can take them to school and bring them in your lunch to work, whatever. I know. Anyhow, if you want to make a double batch and save the other batch in the refrigerator uncooked or in the freezer, beautiful. Nice stuff.
And then you can just take it out quickly and make more.
That's right, because you might need to.
You might need to.
Also, they're kind of nice and buttery. A nice buttery flavor.
The very center just melts in your mouth, almost like a shortbread.
Oh,
So you've got the nice crunch on the outside, then you got a chewy area,
And then you get this melt in your mouth.
And then the seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful cookie. So I hope that you try them too. They're really easy to make, you know, and they're kind of fancy. Fancy schmancy. If you want to make fig cookies and not have to blend the figs and do it like kind of like a fig Newton, this is a really good option. And a little bit less work.
And I like the little pieces.
Me too. And you don't want bigger pieces in that, I don't think. Fantastic. So make sure you check out online winecountrykitchens.com for this balsamic vinegar and their whole line of them. They are phenomenal. Great to bake with, great to cook with, and great just by themselves drizzled on things. Fantastic. Anyhow, check out Mom's website at ingridturnertoday.com. Follow me on Twitter at Cooking with Kim E with a capital E. Like the fan page at facebook.com/cookingwithkimberly. My shows are on ifood.tv/cookingwithkimberly, youtube.com/cookingwithkimberly, and you can find me syndicated on Roku. Come to my website at cookingwithkimberly.com and subscribe, interact with us, and let us know what's going down in your culinary world, all right? Be a champion in your kitchen and eat deliciously. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So good.